amazing artists. Welcome back to Art with Mrs. Knowles. We're going to be using texture and line today to create an awesome line collage. Isn't that cool? And you can see I've used three different types of lines. I've used zigzags, that's the blue and the purple. I used wavy lines, that's the yellow and the orange. And I did a curved line over here on the side for the blue and the green. So you're gonna start thinking about three different kinds of lines that you could use today on your collage. Are you ready? Okay. All right, so you can see my artwork a little bit closer, and you can see my three different lines: wavy, zigzag, curved. Can you think of any other kinds of lines? I can think of a few other ones. What about straight lines? There's lots of kinds of lines. Okay, let's talk about what we're gonna need for our project. You are gonna need something to do texture onto your paper with. So I have a texture plate, but you can go around your house and find texture. Texture is something you can feel. When I feel this, it feels bumpy. When I feel my paper, it feels smooth. What happens if you feel your shirt? What does your shirt feel like? So texture is the way something feels, or the way it looks like it feels. So we're gonna add texture onto our paper before we do the lines. So I've got a texture plate. This is a special crayon that I made in my oven. It doesn't have a wrapper. If you don't have one of these crayons, you can take a regular crayon and just peel some of the wrapper off, because you're gonna use the flat side of the crayon. So you're gonna hold your crayon sideways and press it down like that, not like normal. All right, I already have some paper strips that I cut up. So I did about 3 strips of each color. And I have 6 colors, but that's up to you what colors you use. What else do I need? Glue, scissors, and a pencil. All right. You ready? You ready for this? Okay, I'm gonna move these over to the side, so I don't need them right now. I'm gonna do my texture first. So I'm taking my texture plate and I'm gonna put it underneath my paper, so my paper goes on top. I gotta hold it so it doesn't wiggle. And then I'm gonna take this cool crayon that I made, and I'm just going to rub the crayon onto the texture. And isn't that cool? You can see the bumpiness of the texture underneath the paper. But when I touch it, it doesn't actually feel bumpy. So that's called implied texture. When it looks like a texture, but it doesn't actually feel like a texture. So you could go outside to find some texture. Trees are really good for texture, tree bark. What else? Bricks. Bricks are great for texture. You could look around your house. I have this little basket, if I can get it, right here on my desk. That would be really good for texture. That's like a bumpy texture. So there's lots of things you can use for your texture. So I'm gonna try and put texture all over my paper, which means since I'm using a texture plate, I have to move my paper around so that I can get it all covered by the texture. All right, now, just as a reminder, I was using my special crayon for this project, but like I said, you can take paper off of a crayon, hold it flat on your paper, and when you push down, you'll get the same thing, okay? So you can use a regular crayon for that too. All right, my texture is done. So I am ready to start my lines. Okay, this part you're gonna need a pencil for, so grab your pencil, and you're gonna think about 3 different kinds of lines. So a zigzag is one of my favorite lines. So I'm gonna draw a big zigzag going all the way across my paper. Look at that, all the way across. Now I know it's a little hard to see because of my texture, but that's okay. All right, now I think I'm going to do, I'll do a wavy line, okay. Wavy line, I'm gonna go the other way. Ooh, look, my lines are crossing, but that's okay. And then I have some extra room here, so I'm gonna do a curved line. Remember, you can do any kind of line. You're just trying to fill the whole paper with 3 different lines. Okay, now I'm gonna start using my paper. So I'm gonna take these paper strips. Now I already cut these paper strips. I just used some scrap paper that I had. But the reason why I cut them into strips, because now it's really easy to make little squares. So I just take that and cut little squares. I'm gonna cut this purple one, and then I'm gonna cut one of my blue ones. Okay, so I've got my purple and my blue cut, and now I'm gonna get my glue. Now, this is my favorite kind of glue, so if you have a glue stick, guess what? It's gonna work just the same. So remember, if you're using this kind of glue, you have to take off any dry glue from the top, then turn it. And when you turn it, do you see that how there's a space there? That's how you know that it's open, okay? If there's a space. And if you kind of squeeze it and you can hear the air, that you know it's open too. Okay, so I'm going to do my zigzag line first. And so I'm going to put glue on top of my zigzag line. And when I put the glue on top, I'm putting this touching my paper. Just like if you were using a glue stick, you want it to touch your paper. Okay, I'm gonna stop halfway because I don't want my glue to dry out. And now I'm gonna do a pattern. So I'm gonna do purple, blue, purple, blue, purple, blue. Because a pattern is something that repeats, right? Can you think of any other patterns you could do? I want to see some kind of a pattern on your paper. All right, I've got my zigzag done. You can see it pretty well in there. And I need to let that glue dry, but I'm gonna start on my wavy line next. So I'm gonna save these for later, just put them off to the side. For my wavy line, I am going to use pink and orange. So let's get started on this wavy line. Okay, so I did my wavy line. You notice that when I got to the zigzag, I stopped. Excuse me, so it kind of looks like my wavy line is underneath my zigzag. Okay, so I'm ready to do the line at the bottom, which I did a curved line. So let's do the curved line, and I'm going to use red and blue for that one. So I am done with my lines and with my texture. Can you think of something else that you could add to your picture to make it even more interesting? I bet if I could add some marker details on my lines, or I could even use paint and paint on top of my texture. When you use watercolor and crayon, it makes a really cool effect of you can still see the crayon, but you can also see the watercolor. So that could be something fun. All right, here's my first example that I showed you. So I hope you guys have fun making your texture and line collages. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.